Recently, I learned that a personal hero of mine, Tom Lehrer, the inventor of the Jello shot and the second most famous musical adaptation of Sweeney Todd, had put all of his music up for the public domain, and I couldn't help but feel that it would be a shame not to capitalize on this opportunity to destroy a man's legacy while he watches, which has always been a dream of mine. Before I begin, I think we should address why it was that Tom Lehrer stopped performing in the first place. I believe, and I know it is supported by the evidence, that Tom Lehrer liked to write and especially play music, and was at some younger, more precocious age somehow convinced that this meant that he liked performing for people. And that, of course, over time Tom, or Tommy Gun Lehrer as he is sometimes liked to be called, realized something that most of us casually acquaint ourselves with as we are ground through the public school system like so much salami, that namely, performing for other people sucks. These nincompoops who wouldn't know a staff after walking with the aid of one suddenly forget how to shut up, because the music has happened, egads, to have encouraged something within them, and they suddenly think that they need to make it someone else's problem pronto. Applause, laughter, jeering, and whistling like they've become possessed by the spirit of their hominid ancestors coming across a void black monolith full of pornography. Disgusting. So I thought I would do myself the honor of undertaking the task of covering one of Tim Tam the Music Man's more complex ditties, that being the Irish Ballad, but with some minor improvements so that when viewed as a cohesive artistic product, it should completely extinguish, exsanguinate, and exterminate any of that prosaic enjoyment which was had before, and in so doing confront the present audience with the contrast of the theory of meta-narrative humor as juxtaposed by the reality of anti-narrative meta-humor, from a scope of the relationship of the audience and performer as it existed then. If that went over your head, then I'm doing it right. In the grand tradition of mathematics, I have decided to name this form of meta-post satire Lehrerian satire. As like Pythagoras, Fermat, and Lorbaczewski, his name will be catapulted to great heights for something he didn't have all that much to do with in the end. Also, this will be my first and hopefully last time I will ever have to perform the song, so if I make any mistakes, I hope you can chalk that up to my ardent appreciation of folk music in an attempt to match its folk authenticity. Well, I've almost wasted as much time as those Tom Lehrer songs that begin with a monologue, so I think it's time we begin. 11. Bronze by gold heard the hoof iron, steely rinning imperthin thin 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 thin. Chips picking chips off rocky thumbnail chips. Horrid! And gold flushed more. A husky fife note blew. Blue, blue, bloom is on the gold pinnacled air. A jumping rose on satiny breasts of satin, rose of Castile, trilling, trilling, ay Dolores. Peep! Who's in the peep of gold? Tink cried to bronze in pity, and a call, pure long and throbby, long and dying call. Decoy, soft word, but look, the bright stars fade. Oh, rose, notes chirruping answer, Castile, the morn is breaking. Jingle, jingle, jaunted jingling, coin rang, clock clacked. A vowel, sonnes, I could, rebound of garter, not leave thee, smack, la cloch. Thigh smack, a vowel, warm, sweetheart, goodbye. Jingle, blue, boomed crashing chords when love absorbs. War, war, the tympanum. A sail, a veil, a wave upon the waves. Lost throstle fluted, all is lost now. Horn, hawthorn. When first he saw, alas, full toot, full throb, warbling, ah, lure, alluring. Martha, come, clap, clop, clip, clap, clappy, clap. Good God, heaven never heard no. Deaf, bad, pop, brought, pad, and I took a moonlight night call, far, far. I feel so sad. P.S. So lonely, blooming. Listen, the spiked and winding cold sea horn. Have you the each and four other clash and silent roar? Pearls when she lists rhapsodies, hiss. You don't? Did not? No, no. Believe. Lililand, with a cock and a cara. Black, deep sounding. Do, Ben, do. Wait while you wait. Hee hee. Wait while you hee. But wait. Low in dark middle earth, embedded ore. Naminine daminine. All gone, all fallen. Tiny, her tremulous fern foils of maiden hair. Amen, he gnashed in fury. Fro to fro, a baton cool protruding. Bronze Lydia by minigold. By bronze, by gold, an ocean green of shadow. Bloom, old bloom. One rap, one tapped with a cara, with a cock. Pray for him, pray, good people. His gouty fingers knackering. Big Ben-a-ben, big Ben-Ben. Last rose, Castile of summer left bloom, I feel so sad alone. Pwee, little wind piped, wee. True men, lid kercow dead and all, aye, like you men, will lift your chink with chunk. Ugh, wear bronze from a near, wear gold from afar, wear hooves. Crundle. Then, not till then, my be done. Begin. Bronze by gold, Miss Deuce heard by Miss Kennedy's head. Over the cross-blind of the Ormond bar heard the visceral hoofs go by, ringing steel. Is that her? Asked Miss Kennedy. Miss Deuce said yes, sitting with his ex, pearl grey and eau de nil. Exquisite contrast, Miss Kennedy said. When all agog, Miss Deuce said eagerly. Look at the fellow in the tall silk. Who, where? Gold asked more eagerly. In the second carriage, Miss Deuce's wet lips said, laughing in the sun. He's looking, mine till I see. She darted, bronze to the backmost corner, flattening her face against the pane in a halo of hurried breath. Her wet lips tittered. He's killed looking back, she laughed. Oh, don't men frightful idiots, with sadness. Miss Kennedy sauntered sadly from bright light, twining a loose hair behind an ear. Sauntering sadly, gold no more, she twisted, twined a hair. Sadly she twined in sauntering gold hair behind a curving ear. It's them has the fine time, sadly. Then she said, a man. Blue Who went by Molang's pipes, bearing in his breast the sweats of sin, by wine's antiques and memory, bearing sweet sinful words, by Carol's dusky battered plate, for Raoul. The boots to them in the bar, them barmaids came, for them unheeding he banged on the counter his tray of chattering china. And there's your teas, he said. Miss Kennedy with manners transposed the tea tray down to an upturned lithia crate, safe from eyes low. What is it? Loud Boots unmannerly asked. Find out, Miss Douce retorted, leaving her spinging point. Your beau, is it? A haughty Bronze replied. I'll complain to Miss Demassy on you if I hear any more of your impertinent insolence. I'm Boots snout sniffed rudely, as he retreated as she threatened as he had come. Bloom. On her flower frowning, Miss Douce said, Most evergrating that young brat is. If he doesn't conduct himself, a ring is here for him a yard long. Ladylike in exquisite contrast. Take no notice, Miss Kennedy rejoined. She poured in a teacup of tea, then back in the teapot tea. They cowered under the reef of the counter, waiting on footstools, crates upturned, waiting for their teas to draw. They pawned their blouses, both of black satin, 2 and a 9 yard, waiting for their teas to draw, and 2 and 7. Yes, bronze from an ear, by gold from afar, heard steel from an ear, hoofs ring from afar, and heard steel hoofs ring, hoof ring steel. Am I awfully sunburnt? Miss Bronze emboused her nest. No, said Miss Kennedy. It gets brown after. Did you try the borax with the cherry laurel water? Miss Douce half stood to see her skin askance, and the barometer gilda-lettered with where hawk and claret glasses shimmered in their midst a shell. Leave it to my hand, she said. Try it with glycerine, Miss Kennedy advised, bidding her neck and hands adieu, Miss Douce. Those things only bring out a rush. Replied, receded. I asked that old fogey in Boyd's for something for my skin. Miss Kennedy, pouring now a full-drawn tea, grimaced and prayed. Oh, don't remind me of him for mercy's sake. But wait till I tell you, Miss Douce entreated. Sweet tea, Miss Kennedy, having poured with milk, plugged with both 2 ears with little fingers. No, no, don't, she cried. I won't listen, she cried. But Bloom? Miss Douce grunted in snuffy fogey's tone. For your what? Says he. Miss Kennedy unplugged her ears to hear her to speak, but said but prayed again. Don't let me think of him or I'll expire, the hideous old wretch. That night in the ancient concert rooms. She sipped distastefully her brew, hot tea, as sipped sweet tea. Here he was, Miss Douce said, cooking her bronze head 3/4, ruffling her nose wings. Hoofa! Hoofa! Shrill shriek of laughter sprang from Miss Kennedy's throat. Miss Douce hoofed and snorted down her nostrils that quivered impertinent like a shout in quest. Oh, shrieking, Miss Kennedy cried. Will you ever forget this goggle eye? Miss Douce chimed in her deep bronze laughter, shouting, And your other eye! Blowhorse Dark Eye read Aaron Fignather's name. Why do I always think Figather? Gathering figs, I think, in Prosper Lore's Huguenot name. By Bassie's blessed virgins, Bloom's dark eyes went by. Blue-robed white hunter come to me. God they believe she is, or goddess. Those today I could not see. That fellow spoke a student. After with Daedalus' son, he might be Mulligan. All comely virgins. That brings those rakes of fellows in, her white. But by went his eyes. The sweets of sin, sweet are the sweets of sin. In a giggling peal, young gold-bronze voices blend. Douce with Kennedy, your other eye. They threw young heads back, bronze giggle gold, to let free fly their laughter, screaming, your other, signals to each other, high piercing notes, panting, sighing, fordone their mirth died down. Miss Kennedy lipped her cup again, raised, drank a sip, and giggled. Miss Douce, bending again down over the tea tray, ruffled again her nose and rolled droll fattened eyes. Again Kenny giggles, stooping her fair pinnacles of hair, stooping her tortoise-nape comb showed, spluttered out of her mouth her tea, choking in laughter and laughing, coughing with choking, crying, Oh, greasy eyes! Imagine being married to a man like that, she cried, with his bit of beard. Douce gave full vent to a splendid yell, a full yell of full woman delight, joy, indignation. Married to the greasy nose, she yelled. Shrill with deep laughter, after bronze and gold, they urged each other to peal after peal, ringing in changes, bronze, gold, bronze, shrill, deep, to laughter after laughter, and then laughed more. Greasy eye nose, exhausted, breathless, their shaken heads they laid, braided and pinnacled by glossy combed, against the counterledge, all flushed, oh, panting, sweating, oh, all breathless. Married to Bloom, to grease sublume. Oh, saints above, Miss Douce said, sighed above her jumping rose. I wish I hadn't left so much, I feel all wet. Oh, Miss Douce, Miss Kennedy protests, you horrid thing, and flushed yet more, you horrid, more goldenly. By Cantwell's offices roved Greasabloom, by Seppi's virgins bright of their oils. Nanetti's father hawked those things about, wheedling at doors as I, religion pays. Must see him about Key's par. Eat first, I want, not yet. At 4, she said. Time ever passing, clock hands turning, on. Where eat? The Clarence. Dolphin, on, for Raoul. Eat. Find net 5 guineas with those ads. The violet silk petticoats, not yet. The sweets of sin. Flush less, still less. Goldenly paled. Into their bar strolled Mr. Daedalus, Chips picking chips off one of his rocky thumbnails. Chips, he strolled. Oh, welcome back, Miss Douce. He held her hand. Enjoyed her holidays? Tip-top. He hoped she had seen nice weather in Rosterville. Gorgeous, she said. Look at the holy show I am, lying out on the strand all day. Bronze whiteness. That was exceedingly naughty of you, Mr. Daedalus told her, and pressed her hand indulgently, tempting poor simple males. Miss Douce of Satin deuced her arm away. Oh, go away, she said. You're very simple, I don't think. He was. Well, now I am, he mused. I looked so simple in the cradle they christened me Simple Simon. You must have been a doty, Miss Douce made answer. And what's the doctor order today? Well now, he mused, whatever you say yourself. I think I'll trouble you for some fresh water and half a glass of whiskey. Jingle. With the greatest alacrity. Miss Douce agreed. With grace of alacrity towards the mirror, gilt cantrell and Cochrane she turned herself. With grace she tapped a measure of gold whiskey from her crystal keg. Forth from the skirt of his coat, Mr. Daedalus brought pouch and pipe. Alacrity she served. He blew through the flue 2 husky fife notes. By Jove, he mused. I often wanted to see the Mourne Mountains. Must be a great tonic in the air down there. But a long threatening comes at last, they say. Yes, yes, yes. He fingered shreds of hair, her maiden hair, her mermaids into the bowl. Chips, shreds, musing, mute. None not said nothing, yes. Gaily Miss Douce polished a tumbler, thrilling. Oh, Idolores, queen of the eastern seas. Was Mr. Lidwell in today? In came Lenehan. Round him peered Lenehan. Mr. Bloom reached Essex Bridge. Yes, Mr. Bloom crossed Bridge of Yessex. To Martha I must write, by paper, dailies. Girl there, civil, Bloom, old Bloom, blue Bloom is on the rye. He was in at lunchtime, Mr. said. Lenehan came forward. Was Mr. Boylan looking for me? He asked. She answered. Miss Kennedy, was Mr. Boylan in while I was upstairs? She asked. Miss Voice of Kennedy answered. A second teacup poised, her gaze upon a page. No, he was not. Miss Gaze of Kennedy, heard not seen, read on. Lenehan round the sandwich bell, wound his round body round. Peep, who's in the corner? No glance of Kennedy rewarding him, yet he made overtures. To mind her stops, to read only the black ones. Round O crooked S. Jingle, jaunty jingle. Girl, girl, she read and did not glance. Take no notice. She took no notice while he read by rote a sola fable for her, plappering flatly. Fox met a stork, said thee fox to thee stork, will you put your bill down in my throat and pull up a bone? He droned in vain. Miss Douce turned to her tea aside. He sighed, aside. Ah me, oh my. He greeted Mr. Daedalus and got a nod. Greetings from the famous son of a famous father? Who may he be? Mr. Daedalus asked. Lenehan opened most genial arms. Who? Who may he be? He asked. Can you ask? Stephen, the useful bard. Dry. Mr. Daedalus, famous fighter, laid by his dry-filled pipe. I see, he said. I didn't recognize him for the moment. I hear he is keeping very select company. Have you seen him lately? He had. I quaffed the nectar bowl with him this very day, said Lenehan. And Mooney's on Ville and Mooney's Sir Mayor. He has received the rhino for the labor of his muse. He smiled at bronze tea-bath lips, at listening lips and eyes. The elite of Erin hung upon his lips, the ponderous pundit Hugh MacHugh, Dublin's most brilliant scribe and editor, and that minstrel boy of the wild west, wet west, who was known by the euphonymous appellation of O'Madden Burke. After an interval, Mr. Daedalus raised his grog, and that must have been highly diverting, said he. I see. He drank with far-away morning mountain eye, set down his glass. He looked towards the saloon door. I see you move the ukulele. The tuner was in today, Miss Douce said, tuning it to the smoking concert, and I never heard such an exquisite player. Is that a fact? Didn't he, Miss Kennedy? Very classical, you know, and blind too, poor fellow. Not 20, I'm sure he was. Is that a fact? Mr. Daedalus said. He drank and strayed away. So sad to look at his face, Miss Douce condoled. God's curse on bitch's bastard. Tink to her pity cried a dinner's bell. To the door of the dining room came bald Pat, came bothered Pat, came Pat, waiter of Ormond, lager for dinner, lager without alacrity she served. With patience Lenehan watched for Boylan with impatience, for jingle jaunty Blaze's boy. Upholding the lid, he who gazed in the coffin at the oblique quadruple ukulele strings. He pressed, the same who pressed indulgently her hand, soft strumming the quadruple strings, to see the thickness of hands advancing, to hear the muffled strumfall in action. 2 sheets cream and vellum paper on reserve, 2 envelopes when I was in Wisdom's Healy Wise Bloom and Daly's Henry Flower bought. Are you not happy in your home? Flower to console me and a pin cuts low. Means something language of flow. Was it a daisy? Innocence, that is. Respectable girl meet after mass. Tanks awfully muchly. Wise Bloom eyed on the door a poster, a swaying mermaid smoking mid nice wave. Smoke mermaids, coolest whiff of all. Hair streaming lovelorn for some man, for Raoul. He eyed and saw from afar. On Essex Bridge, a gay hat riding on a jaunting car. It is, 3rd time, coincidence. Jingling on supple elastics, it jaunted from the bridge to Ormond Quay. Follow, risk it, go quick, at 4, near now, out. 2 pence, sir, the shop girl dared to say. Aha, I was forgetting, excuse. And 4. At 4, winsomely she on Bloomin' whom smiled. Bloom sui qui go, ternoon. Think you're the only pebble on the beach? Does that to all, for men. In drowsy silence, gold bent on her page. From the saloon a call came, long and dying. That was a tuning fork in the tuner's hand that he had forgot, that now he struck. A call again. That now he poised, that now it throbbed. You hear? It throbbed, pure, softly and softlier. Its buzzing prawns, longer and dying call. Pat paid for dinner's pork-cocked bottle, and over tumbler tray and pork-cocked bottle, ere he went and he whispered, bald and bothered, to Miss Douce. Thou tomato, sing a song. A voiceless song came from within, singing, sing, rickety-tickety-tin. A dual dene of bird notes chirped, bright treble answered under sensitive hands. Brightly the keys all twinkling linked a harpsichording. Came to a voice to sing the strain of dewy morn, of youth of love's leaf-taking, life's love's morn. About a maid I'll sing a song. Lenehan's lips over the counter lisped a low whisper of decoy. But look at it this way, he said. Rose of Castile. Jingle jaunted by the curb and stopped. She rose and closed her reading. Rose of Castile. Fretted forlorn, dreamily rose. Did she fall or was she pushed? He asked her. She answered, slighting. Ask no questions and you'll hear no lies. Like ladylike. Blaze's Boylan smart tan shoes creaked on the bar floor where he strode. Yes, gold from near by bronze from afar. Lenehan had heard and knew and hailed him. See, the conquering hero comes. Between the car and window, warily walking, went Bloom, unconquered hero. See me he might, the seat he sat on, warm. Black wary he catwalked towards Richie Golding's legal bag, lifted aloft sauntering. Not only did she do them, I heard you around, said Blazes Boyland. He touched to fair Miss Kennedy a rim of his slanted straw. She smiled on him, but Sister Bronze outsmiled her, preening for him her richer hair, a bosom, and a rose. Boyland bespoke potions. What's your cry? Glass of bitter, please, and a slogan for me. Wiring yet? Not yet. At 4 he, all said 4. Cowley's red lungs and Adam's apple in the door of the sheriff's office. Avoid. Golding a chance. What is he doing in the Ormond? Car waiting. Wait. Hello, where off to? Something to eat? I too was just in here. What? Ormond? Best value in Dublin. Is that so? Dining room. Sit tight there. See? Not be seen. I think I'll join you. Come on. Richie led on. Bloom followed back. Dinner fit for a prince. Miss Douce reached high to take a flag, and stretching her satin arm, her bust, that all but burst so high. Oh, jerked Lenehan, grasping at each stretch. Oh, but easily she seized her prey and let it low in triumph. Why don't you grow? Asked Blazes Boyland. She, Bronze, dealing from her jar thick syrupy liquor for his lips, looked as it flowed pieces of skin on his coat. Who gave him? And served with her voice. Fine goods in small parcels. That is to say, she poured slow syrupy slow. Here's fortune, Blazes said. He pitched a broad coin down. Coin rang. Hold on, said Lenehan, till fortune, he wished, lifting his bubbled ale. Scepter will win in a canter, he said. I plunged a bit, said Boyland, winking and drinking. Done on my own, you know. Fancy of a friend of mine. Lenehan, still drinking, grinned at tilted ale and at Miss Douce's lips that all but hummed, not shut, the ocean song her lips had trilled. Idolores, the eastern seas. Clock word. Miss Kennedy passed their way. Flower wonder who gave. Bearing away tea tray. Clock clacked. Miss Douce took Boyland's coin, struck boldly the cash register. It changed. Clock clacked. Fair, one of Egypt, teased and sorted in the till, hummed and handed coins and change. Looked to the west, a clack for me. What time is that? Asked Blazes Boyland. 4 o'clock. Lenehan, small eyes a hunger on her humming, bust a humming, tugged Blazes Boyland's elbow sleeve. Let's hear the time, he said. The bag of gold and call his ward, led Bloom by rye bloom flowered tables. Aimless he chose with agitated aim, called Black Pat attending, a table near the door, be near at 4. Has he forgotten? Perhaps a trick, not come, wet appetite. I couldn't do. Wait, Pat, waiter waited. Sparkling bronze azure eyed blaze your sky blue bow and eyes. Go on, pressed Lenehan, there's no one. He never heard. And occasional pieces of skin. High, a high note, pealed in treble, clear. Bronze Douce, communing with her rose that sank in rose, sought Blazes Boyland's flower and eyes. Please, he pleaded over returning phases of a vowel. My tragic tale I won't prolong. After wits, Miss Douce promised coyly. No, now, urged Lenehan. Sonnez la cloche. Oh, do, there's no one. She looked quick, Miss Ken out of earshot, sudden bent. 2 kindling faces watched her bend, quavering the chord straight from the air, found it again, lost chord, and found and lost it, faltering. Go on, do, Sonnez. Bending, she nipped a peak of skirt above the knee, delayed, taunted them still, bending, suspending with willful eyes. Sonnez! Smack! She let free sudden and rebound, her nipped elastic garter smack warm against her smackable woman's warm host thigh. La cloche! Cried gleeful Lenehan, trained by owner, no sawdust there. She smiled, smirked, supercilious, wept, aren't men, but lightward gliding, mild she smiled on Boyland. You're the essence of vulgarity, she said, and gliding said. Boyland eyed, tossed to fat lips his chalice, drank off his tiny chalice, sucking the last fat violet syrupy drops. He spelled down, eyes went after her gliding head as it went down the bar by mares. Gilded arch for ginger ale, hawking claret glasses shimmering, a spiky shell where it concerted, mirrored bronze with sunnier bronze, yes, bronze from a nearby. You should never have let me begin. I'm off, said Boyland with impatience. He slid his chalice brisk away, grasped his chance. Wait a shake, begged Lenehan, drinking quickly. I wanted to tell you, Tom Rockford. Come on to Blazes, said Blazes Boyland, going. Lenehan gulped to go. Got the horn or what? He said. Wait, I'm coming. He followed the hasty creaking shoes, but stood by nimbly by the threshold, saluting forms, a bulky with a slender. How do you do, Mr. Dollard? How do? Ben Dollard's vague brass answered, turning an instant from father. Cowley's woe. He won't give you any trouble, Bob. All Bergen speak to the Longfellow. We'll put a barley straw on that Judas Iscariot's ear this time. Sighing, Mr. Daedalus came through the saloon, a finger soothing an eyelid. Heard the ho-ho, we will, Ben Dollard yodeled jollily. Come on, Simon, give us a ditty. We heard the ukulele. Old Pat, bothered waiter, waited for drink orders. Power for Richie and Bloom? Let me see. Not to make him walk twice. His corn's 4 now. How warm this black is. Coarse nerves a bit. Refracts. Is it? Heat. Let me see. Cider. Yes, bottle of cider. What's that? Mr. Daedalus said. I was only vamping, man. Come on, Ben Dollard cried. Begone, dull care. Come on, Bob. He ambled Dollard, bulky slops before them. Hold that fellow with the hold him now. Into the saloon. He plumped him Dollard on the stool. His gouty paws plumped chords. Plump stopped abrupt. Bold Pat in the doorway met tealess gold returning. Bothered he wanted power and cider. Bronze by the window watched bronze from afar. Jingle a tinkle jaunted. Bloom heard a jing, a little sound. He's off. Light sob of breath. Bloom sighed on the silent blue-hued flowers. Jingling. He's gone. Jingle. Here. Love and war, Ben, Mr. Daedalus said. God be with old times. Miss Douce Brave's eyes. Unregarded, turned from the cross-blind, smitten by sunlight, gone. Pensive, who knows, smitten, the smiting light. She lowered the drop blind with a sliding cord. She drew down pensive. Why did he go so quick when about her bronze over the bar, where the bald stood by Sister Gold, inexquisite contrast, inexquisite, not exquisite, slow, cool, dim, sea-green, sliding depth of shadow, Eau de Nil. Poor old Goodwin was the pianist that night, Father Crowley reminded them. There was a slight difference of opinion between himself and the colored grand. There was. A symposium all his own, Mr. Davis said. The devil wouldn't stop him. He was a crotchety old fellow on the primary stage of drink. God, do you remember? Van Bulky Dold said, turning from the punished keyboard. And by japers, I had no wedding garment. They laughed all three. He had no wed. All trio laughed. No wedding garment. Our friend Bloom turned in handy that night, Mr. Davis said. Where's my pipe, by the way? He wandered back to the bar to the lost cord pipe. Bald Pat carried 2 diners' drinks, Richie and Poldy, and Father Crowley laughed again. I saved the situation, Ben, I think. You did, averred Ben Dollard. I remember those tight trousers, too. That was a brilliant idea, Bob. Father Crowley blushed to his brilliant purply lobes. He saved the situa. Tight tro. Brilliant idea. I knew he was on the rocks, he said. The wife was playing the guitar in the coffee place on Saturdays for a very trifling consideration, and who was it gave me the wheeze she was doing the other business? Do you remember? We all had to search all Holly Street to find them till the cheap and cogs gave us the number. Remember? Ben remembered, his broad visage wondering. By God, she had some luxurious opera cloaks and things there. Mr. Dalis wandered back, pipe in hand, Marion Square style, ball dresses, by God, and court dresses. He wouldn't take any money either. What? And any god's quantity of cooked hats and boleros and trunk hose. What? Aye, Mr. Dalis nodded. Miss Marion Bloom has left off clothes of all descriptions. Jingle hunted down the quays. Blazes sprawled on bounding tires. Liver and bacon, steak and kidney pie. Right, sir. Right, Pat. Miss Marion met him pike hoses. Smell of burn of Paul de Kock. Nice name, he. What's this her name was? A buxom lassie. Marion. Tweety. Yes. Is she alive and kicking? She was a daughter of the regiment. Yes, begad, I remember the old drum major. Mr. Dalis struck whiz, lit, puff, savory, puff after. Irish? I don't know, Faith. Is she, Simon? Puff after puff. A stiff, strong, savory crackling. Buccinator muscle is, what? A bit rusty, oh, she is. My Irish Molly-o. He puffed a pungent, plumy blast. From the Rock of Gibraltar all the way. They pined in depth of ocean shadow, gold by beer pole, bronze by maraschino. Thoughtful all too, Mina Kennedy, 4 Lismore Terrace, drum condra with Idolores, a queen, Dolores, silent. Pat served uncovered dishes, Leopold cut liver slices. As said before, he ate with relish the inner organs, nutty gizzards, fried cod's roes, while Richie Golding, Collis Ward ate steak and kidney, steak then kidney, bite by bite of pie, he ate, Bloom ate, they ate. Bloom with Golding, married in silence, ate, dinners fit for princes. By bachelor's walk, jog jaunty, jingled, blazes boiling, bachelor in the sun and heat, mare's glossy rump a trot, with flick of whip on bounding tires, sprawled, warm-seated, violent impatience, ardent bold, horn, have you the horn, have you the ha-ha horn. Over their voices, Dollard bassooned attack, booming over bombarding chords. When love absorbs my ardent soul, roll of bent soul Benjamin rolled to the quivery love shivery roof panes. War, war, cried Father Crowley, you're the warrior. So I am, Ben, warrior laughed. I was thinking of your landlord, love or money. He stopped. He wagged huge beard, huge face over his blunder huge. Sure, you'd bust the tympanum of her ear, man, Mr. Davis said through smoke aroma, with an organ like yours. And bearded, abundant laughter Dollard shook upon the keyboard. He would. Not to mention another membrane, Father Crowley added. Half-time, Ben. Amoroso, ma non troppo. Let me there. Miss Kennedy served 2 gentlemen with tankers of cool stout. She passed a remark. It was indeed, first gentleman said, beautiful weather. They drank cool stout. Did she know where the Lord Lieutenant was going, and heard Steelhoof's ring roof ring? No, she couldn't say, but it would be in the paper. Oh, she needn't trouble. No trouble. She waved about her outspread independent searching the Lord Lieutenant, her pinnacles of hair slow-moving, Lord Lieutenant. Too much trouble, first gentleman said. Oh, not in the least. Way he looked that. Lord Lieutenant. Gold by bronze, heard iron steel. My ardent soul. I care not for o'er the morrow. In liver gravy, Bloom mashed potatoes. Love and war someone is, Ben Dollard's famous. Night he ran round to us to borrow a dress suit for that concert. Trousers tight as a drum on him. Musical porkers. Molly did laugh when he went out. Threw herself back across the bed, screaming, kicking, with all his belongings on show. Oh, saints above, I'm drenched. Oh, the women in the front row. Oh, I never laughed so many. Well, of course, that's what gives him the bass barrel tone. For instance, eunuchs. Wonder who's playing. Nice touch. Must be Cowley. Musical. Knows whatever note you play. Bad breath he has, poor chap. Stopped. Miss Douce engaging, Lydia Douce bowed to suave solicitor George Lidwell, gentleman entering. Good afternoon, she gave her a lady's hand to his firm clasp. Afternoon, yes, she was back, to the old ding-dong again. Your friends are inside, Mr. Lidwell. George Lidwell, suave solicited, held a Lydia hand. Bloom ate a live, as she said before. Clean here, at least, that chap in the burden, gummy with the gristle, no one here, Golding and I, clean tables, flowers, meters of napkins, Pat to and fro, bald Pat, nothing to do, best value in dub. Guitar again, Cowley it is, way he sits into it, like one together, mutual understanding, tiresome shapers, scraping fiddles, eye on the bow end, sawing the cello, remind you of toothache, her high long snore. Night we were in the box, trombone under them blowing like a grampus, between the acts another brass chap, unscrewing, emptying spittle, conductor's legs 2 bag trousers, jiggity jiggity, do right to hide them, jiggity jingle jaunty jaunty. Only the harp, lovely gold glowering light, girl touched it, poop of a lovely, gravy's rather good fit for a golden ship, Aaron, the harp that once or twice, cool hands, Ben Houth, the rhododendrons, we are their harps, I, he, old, young. I couldn't, man, Mr. Dalis said, shy, listless, strongly. Go on, bast you, Ben Dolly growled, get it out in bits. Do the Irish Ballad again, Simon, Father Cowley said. Downstage he strode some paces, grave, tall in affliction, his long arms outheld. Hoarsely, the apple of his throat hoarse softly. Softly he sang to a dusty seascape there. A last farewell, a headland, a ship, a sail upon the billows. Farewell, a lovely girl, her veil a wave upon the wind, upon the headland, wind around her. Go on, Simon. Ah, sure, my dancing days are done, Ben. Well, Mr. Dalis laid his pipe to rest before the tuning fork, and sitting touched the obedient strings. No, Simon, Father Cowley tunes. Play it in the original one flat. The strings obedient, tuned higher, told, faltered, confessed, confused. Upstage strode Father Cowley. Here, Simon, I'll accompany you, he said. Get up. Cowley sang. About a maid I'll sing a song, sing rickety-tickety-tin. About a maid I'll sing a song who didn't have her family long. Not only did she do them wrong, she did every one of them in. She did every one of them in. One morning in a fit of peaksing, rickety-tickety-tin. One morning in a fit of peak, she drowned her father in the creek. The water tasted bad for a week, and we had to make do with gin. We had to make do with gin. Just one last thing before I go, sing rickety-tickety-tin. Just one last thing before I go, there's something I think you ought to know. The song's not close to over, no. I'll keep playing along as I've been. I'll keep playing along as I've been. Her mother, she could never stand, sing rickety-tickety-tin. Her mother, she could never stand, and so a cyanide soup she planned. The mother died with a spoon in her hand, and her face in a hideous grin, her face in a hideous grin. She set her sister's hair on fire, sing rickety-tickety-tin. She set her sister's hair on fire, and as the flaming flames grow higher, she danced around the funeral pyre, playing a violin, playing a violin. She weighted her brother down with stones, sing rickety-tickety-tin. She weighted her brother down with stones and sent him down to Davy Jones. All they ever found were the bones and occasional pieces of skin, occasional pieces of skin. One day when she had nothing to do, sing rickety-tickety-tin. One day when she had nothing to do, she cut her baby brother in two and served him up as an Irish stew. And invited the neighbors in, invited the neighbors in. And when at last the police came by, sing rickety-tickety-tin. And when at last the police came by, these terrible deeds she did not deny. To do so, she would have had to lie. And lying she knew was a sin, and wow, nope, but I can't do it again. Just one last thing before I go, sing rickety-tickety-tin. Just one last thing before I go, I think there's something you ought to know. They had no proof, so they let her go, and they say she was tall and thin, they say she was tall and thin. My tragic tale I won't prolong, sing rickety-tickety-tin. My tragic tale I won't prolong, and if you do not enjoy this song, you've yourselves to blame if it's too long. You should never have let me begin. You should never have let me begin. Just one last thing before I go, sing rickety-tickety-tin. Just one last thing before I go, there's something I think you ought to know. Just one last thing before I go. A rickety-tickety-tin, a tin, a rickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety, rickety-tickety-rickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tin, a tin, a rickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tin, a tin, a rickety-tickety-tin. Just one last thing before I go, sing rickety-tickety-tin. Just one last thing before I go, there's something I think you ought to know. Just one last thing before I go. A rickety-tickety-tin, a tin, a rickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tin, a tin, a rickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tin, a tin, a rickety-tickety-tin. Rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety. Rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tin, a tin, a rickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tin, a tin, a rickety-tickety-tin. Just one last thing before I go, sing rickety-tickety-tin. Just one last thing before I go, there's something you should ought to know. Just one last thing before I go. A rickety-tickety-tin, a tin, a rickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tin, a tin, a rickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tin, a tin, a rickety-tickety-tin. Just one last thing before I go, sing rickety-tickety-tin. Just one last thing before I go, there's something I think you ought to know. Just one last thing before I go. Rickety-tickety-tin, a tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tin, a tin, a rickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tin. A rickety-tickety-tin, a tin, a rickety-tickety-tin. Just one last thing before I go, sing rickety-tickety-tin. Just one last thing before I go. There's something I think you ought to know just one last thing before I go. Oh, rickety tickety tin, a tin, oh, rickety tickety tin. Rickety tickety 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 tin, oh, rickety tickety 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 rickety tickety 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 rickety tickety tickety tin. Oh, rickety tickety tin, oh, rickety tickety tin. Oh, rickety tickety 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 tin. Oh, rickety tickety 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 rickety 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 tickety tickety tin. A rickety tickety tin, a tin, rickety tickety tin. Rickety tickety 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 tin. Oh, rickety tickety 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 tickety. Okay, let's see, where am I? Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, that's right, Les. Oh, rickety tickety 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 tin. Oh, rickety tickety 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 rickety tickety rickety tickety rickety tickety tickety tin. Oh, rickety tickety tin, a tin. Oh, rickety tickety tin. Oh, rickety tickety 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 tin. Oh, rickety tickety 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 rickety tickety tickety. Oh, rickety tickety tin, a tin. Oh, rickety tickety tin. And rickety 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 tin. Rickety 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 tickety tickety tin. Oh, rickety tickety tin, a tin. Oh, rickety tickety tin. Just one last thing before I go. Sing rickety tickety tin. Just one last thing before I go. There's something I think you ought to know. Just one last stanza before I go. A rickety tickety tin, a rickety tickety tin. A rickety tickety 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 tin. A rickety tickety 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 tin. A rickety tickety 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 rickety tickety rickety tickety rickety tickety rickety tin. A rickety rickety tin, a tin, a rickety tickety tin. Now British people in the audience sing. A rickety tickety 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 rickety tickety tin. A rickety tickety 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 rickety tickety tickety tin. And North Irish imperialism, North Irish imperialism. A rickety tickety 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 tin. A rickety tickety 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 tin. A rickety tickety tin, a tin, a rickety tickety tin. And I think that is the last verse. Rickety tickety 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 tin. A rickety tickety 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 rickety tickety rickety tickety tickety tin. A rickety tickety tin, a tin, a rickety tickety tin. A rickety, a tickety, a tickety, a tickety, a rickety, a tickety, a tin. A rickety, a tickety, a tickety, a tickety, a rickety, a tickety, a tickety. A tickety, a rickety, a tickety, a rickety, a tin. She waved on hearing Cowley, her veil to one departing, dear one to wind, love speeding sail return. By Graham Lemon's pineapple rock, by Oliver's elephant jingle jogged, steak, kidney, liver, mashed at meat fit for princess sat Princess Bloom and Golding. Prince at meat they raised and drank power and cider. Most beautiful tenor air ever written, Richie said. Sonambula. He heard Joe Mass sing that one night. Ah, that McGuckin. Yes, in his way, Quarbor style. Maz was the boy, Mass boy, a lyrical tenor if you like. Never forget it, never. Tenderly Bloom over liverless bacon saw the Titan feature strain. Backache he, Bright's bright eye. Next item on the program, paying the piper. Pills, pounded bread, worth a guinea a box. Stave it off a while, sings too. Down among the dead men, appropriate. Kidney pie, sweets to the, not making much hand of it. Best value in, characteristic of him, power. Particular about his drink, flaw in the glass, fresh Vantry water. Faking matches from counters to save, then squander a sovereign in dribs and drabs. And when he's wanted not a farthing, screwed, refusing to pay his fare, curious types. Never would Richie forget that night as long as he lived, never. In the gods of the old royal with the little peak, and with the first little note. Speech paused on Richie's lips. Coming out with a whopper now, rhapsodies about damn all, believes his own lies, does really, wonderful liar, but want a good memory. Which air is that? Asked Leopold Bloom. All was lost now. Richie cocked his lips a low incipient note, sweet banshee murmured all, thrush, oh throstle, his breath bird sweet, good teeth he's proud of, fluted with plaintive woe, was lost. Rich sound, 2 notes in one there, blackbird I heard in the Hawthorne Valley, taking my motives he twined and turned them, almost to new call is lost in all, echo, how sweet is the answer, how is that done, all lost now, mournful he whistled, fall surrender lost. Bloom bent Leopold ear, turning a fringe of doily down under the vase, order, yes, I remember, lovely air, in sleep she went to him, innocence in the moon, still hold her back, brave don't know their danger, call name, touch water, jingle jaunty, too late, she longed to go, that's why, woman, as easy stop the sea, yes, all is lost. A beautiful air, said Bloom, lost Leopold, I know it well, never in all his life had Richie Golding. He knows it well, too, or he feels, still harping on his daughter. Wild child that knows her father, Daedalus said. Me? Bloom askance over liverless saw. Face of the all is lost. Rollicking Richie once. Jokes old stale now, wagging his ear. Napkinning in his eye. Now begging letters he sends his son with. Cross-eyed Walter, sir, I did, sir. Wouldn't trouble, only I was expecting some money. Apologize. Guitar. Sounds better than last time I heard. Tuned, probably. Stopped again. Dollard and Cowley still urged the lingering singer out with it. With it, Simon. With it. It, Simon. Ladies and gentlemen, I am most deeply obliged by your kind solicitations. It, Simon. I have no money, but if you will lend me your attention, I shall endeavor to sing to you of a heart bowed down. By the sandwich bell feeding shadow, Lydia her bronze and rose, a lady's grace gave and withheld, as in cool glaucous, ode de nil, Mina to tankards, to her 2 pinnacles of gold. The harping chords of prelude closed, a chord long drawn, expectant drew a voice away. When first I saw that form endearing, Richie turned, see Daedalus's voice, he said. Brain-tipped, cheek touched with flame, they listened, feeling that flow, endearing flow of her skin, limbs, human heart, soul, spine. Bloom signed to Pat, bald Pat is the waiter, hard of hearing, to set ajar the door of the bar, the door of the bar. So, that will do, Pat. Waiter waited, waiting to hear, for he was hard to hear by the door. Sorrow from me seemed to depart. Through the hush of the air a voice sang to them, low, not rain, not leaves and murmur, like no voice a string of reeds, what do you call them, dulcimers, touching their ears with words, still hearts of their each his remembered lives. Good to hear, sorrow from them, each seemed to fart when they first heard. When they first saw lost Richie Poldy, mercy of beauty, heard from a person wouldn't expect it in the least, her first merciful love soft, oft-loved word. Love that is singing, love's old sweet song. Bloom unwound slowly the elastic band of his packet, love's old sweet sonne la gold. Bloom wound a skein round 4 forked fingers, stretched it, relaxed, and wound it round his troubled double, 4-fold an octave, dived him fast. Full of hope and all delighted, tenors get women by the score, increase their flow, throw flower at his feet. When will we meet? My head it simply, jingle it all delighted. He can't sing for tall hats. Your head it simply swirls, perfume for him. What perfume does your wife? I want to know. Jing, stop, knock, last look at the mirror, always before she enters the door. The hall, there. How do you? I do well. There? What? Or Phyla of Cacoas, kissing comfits in her satchel. Yes? Hands felt for the opulent. Alas, the voice arose, sighing, changed, loud, full, shining, proud, but alas, 'twas idle dreaming. Glorious tone he has still. Cork air softer also their brogue. Silly man, could have made oceans of money singing wrong words. Wore out his wife now sings, but hard to tell. Only the two themselves. If he doesn't break down, keep a trot for the avenue. His hands and feet sing too. Drink, nerves overstrung. Must be abstemious to sing. Jenny lid soup, stock sage, raw eggs, half a king to cream. For creamy dreamy. Tenderness it welled, slow swelling, full to throb, that's the chat. Ha, give, take, throb, a pulsing, proud, erect. Words, music, no, that's what's behind. Bloom looped, unlooped, noted, disnoted. Bloom, flood of warm, dim jam, lick it up secretness, flowed to flow in music out in desire, dark to lick, flow invading. Tipping her, tapping her, topping her. Tup, pores to dilate, dilating. Tup, the joy to feel the warm, the tup. To pour o'er sluices, pouring gushes, flood, gush, flow, joy, gush, tup, thop. Now, language of love, ray of hope. Beaming, Lydia for Lidwell squeak, scarcely hear so ladylike the muse unsqueaked a rays of hope. Martha it is, coincidence, just going to write Lionel song. Lovely name you have there, can't write, except my little prez. Play on her heartstrings, purse strings too. She's I called you naughty boy, still the name, Martha, how strange today. The voice of Lionel returned, weaker but unwearied. And saying again to Richie Poldy Lydia Lidwell, also saying to Pat open mouth ear waiting to wait. How first he saw that form endearing, how sorrow seemed to part, how look form word charmed him, gold Lidwell, won Pat Bloom's heart. Wish I could see his face though, explain better, why the barber and Dragos always looked my face when I spoke his face in the glass. Still hear it better here than in the bar though farther. Each graceful look, first night when I saw her at Matt Dillon's in Terranure. Yellow, black lace she wore, musical chairs, we two at the last, fate after her fate, round and round slow, quick round, we two, all looked halt, down she sat, all ousted looked, lips laughing, yellow knees, charmed my eye. Singing, waiting she sang, I turned her music, full voice of perfume, of what perfume does your lilac trees? Bosom I saw both full throat warbling, first I saw, she thanked me, why did she me? Fate, Spanishy eyes, under a pear tree alone patio, this hour in old Madrid, one side in shadow, Dolores, she Dolores, at me, luring, luring. Martha, Martha. Quitting all languor, Lionel cried in grief, in cry of passion dominant to love, to return with deepening yet with rising chords of harmony, in cry of Lionel loneliness that she should know, must Martha feel, for only her he waited. Where? Here, there, try there, here, all, try where? Somewhere. Come, thou lost one, come, thou dear one, alone, one love, one hope, one comfort me, Martha chestnut return. Come. It soared a bird, it held its flight, a swift pure cry, soar silver orb, it leaped serene, speeding, sustained to come, don't spit it out. Too long, long breath, he breath, long life, soaring high, high resplendent of flame crowned, high in the effulgent symbolistic, high on the ethereal bosom, high of the vast irradiation everywhere, all soaring all around about the all, the endlessness. To me, Seopold, consumed. Come, well sung, all clap, she ought to, come, to me, to him, to her, you two, me, us. Bravo, clap, clap, good man, Simon, clap, clap, clap. Encore, clap, 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 sound as a bell. Bravo, Simon, clap, clap, clap. Encore and clap, she said. Cry, clap, daw, bend all at Lydia Deuce. George Lidwell, Pat Mina, two gentlemen with two tankards. Cowley, first gent with tank, and bronze Miss Deuce and Miss Gold Mina. Blazes Boylan's smart tan shoes creaked on the bar floor, said before, jingle by monuments of Sir John Gray, Horatio one-handled Nelson, Reverend Father Theobald Matthew, jaunted as said before just now, a trot in heat seated, cloche sonne-la, slower. The mare went up the hill by the rotunda, Rutland Square, too slow for Boylan, Blazes Boylan, impatience Boylan, joggled the mare. And after clang of Cowley's chords closed, died on the air, made richer. And Richie Golding drank his power, and Leopold Bloom his cider drank. Lidwell his Guinness, second gentleman said they would partake of 2 tankards if she did not mind. Miss Kennedy smirked, deserving coral lips at first, at second, she did not mind. 7 days in jail, Bendel had said, on bread and water. Then you'd sing, Simon, like a golden thrush. Lionel Simon Singer laughed. Father Bob Cowley played. Minna Kennedy served. Second gentleman paid. Tom Kernan strutted in. Lydia admired, but Bloom sang dumb, admiring. Richie admiring, decanted on that man's glorious voice. He remembered one night long ago, never forget that night. He sang, "'Twas rank and fame, and Ned Lambert's 'twas." Good God, he'd never heard in all his life a note like that. He never did then, false one. We had better parts, so clear, so God. He never heard since love lives, not a clinking voice as Lambert. He can tell you too. Golding, a flesh struggling in his pail, told Mr. Bloom, face of the night, see in Ned Lambert's, Daedalus's house, sang, "'Twas rank and fame." He, Mr. Bloom, listened while he, Richie Golding, told him, Mr. Bloom, with the night, he, Richie, heard him, see Daedalus sing, "'Twas rank and fame in his, Ned Lambert's house." Brothers-in-law, relations, we never speak as we pass by, rift in the lute, I think, treats him with scorn, see, he admires him all the more. The nights I sang, the human voice, 2 tiny silky chords, wonderful, more than all the others. That voice was a lamentation. Calmer now, it's in the silence you feel, you hear, vibrations, now silent air. Bloom unjivied his crisscross hand and with slack fingers plucked the slender cathook thong. He drew and plucked it, buzzed it, twanged, while Goulding talked of Barclay's voice production, while Tom Kernan, harking back in retrospective sort of arrangement, talked to listening Father Cowley, who played a voluntary, who nodded as he played, while Big Ben Dollard talked with Simon Daedalus lighting, who nodded as he smoked, who smoked. Thou lost one, all songs on that theme, yet more Bloom stretched his string, cruel it seems. Let people get fond of each other, lure them on, then tear asunder. Death explodes. Knock one on the head. Oh, the hell out of that. Human life. Dingham. Ugh, that rat's tail's wiggling. 5 bob I gave. Corpus paradisium. Corn creek croaker. Belly like a poisoned pup. Gone, they sing forgotten. I too. And one day she with. Leave her, get tired, suffer then, sniffle, big Spanishy eyes goggling at nothing. Her wavy, heavy hair uncombed. Yet too much happy bores. He stretched more. Are you not happy in your? Twang. It snapped. Jingo into Dorset Street. Miss Deuce withdrew her satiny arm, reproachful pleased. Don't make half so free, said she, till we are better acquainted. George Lidwell told her really and truthfully, but she did not believe. Gentleman told Mina that was so. She asked him, was that so? And second tankard told her so, that was so. Miss Deuce, Miss Lydia did not believe. Miss Kennedy, Mina did not believe. George Lidwell, no. Miss Doe did not. The first gent with the tank, believe, no, did not. Miss Ken, Lydia, well, the tank. Better write it here. Quills in the post office, chewed and twisted. Bald Pat at a sign drew nigh. A pen and ink, he went, a pad to blot. He heard, deaf Pat. Yes, Mr. Bloom said, teasing the curling catgut fine. It certainly is. Few lines will do. My present. All that Italian florid music is. Who is this wrote? Know the name, you know better. Take out sheet notepaper envelope. Unconcerned. It's so characteristic. Grandest number in the whole opera, Golding said. It is, Bloom said. Numbers it is, all music when you come to think. 2 multiplied by 2 divided by half is twice 1. Vibrations, chords those are. 1 plus 2 plus 6 is 7. Do anything you like with figures juggling. Always find out this equal to that, symmetry under a cemetery wall. He doesn't see my mourning, callous, all for his own gut. Muse mathematics. And you think you're listening to the ethereal. But suppose you said it like Martha. 7 times 9 minus x is 35,000. Fall quite flat. It's on account of the sounds, it is. Instance he's playing now, improvising, might be what you like till you hear the words. Want to listen sharp, hard. Begin all right, then hear chords a bit off. Feel lost a bit. In and out of sacks over barrels through wire fences, obstacle race. Time makes the tune. Question of mood you're in. Still always nice to hear, except scales up and down. Girls learning. 2 together next door neighbors. Ought to invent dummy ukuleles for that. Bloom and Light I bought for her. The name. Playing it slow, a girl. Night I came home, the girl. Door of the stables near Cecilia Street. Millie no taste. Queer because we were both, I mean. Bold deaf Pat brought quite flat pad ink. Pat sat with ink pen quite flat pad. Pat took plate dish, knife fork. Pat went. It was the only language Mr. Daly said to Ben. He heard them as a boy in Ringabella, Crosshaven Ringabella, singing their barracles. Queentown harbor full of Italian ships, walking, you know, Ben, in the moonlight with those earthquake hats, blending their voices. God, such music, Ben, heard as a boy. Cross Ringabella, Haven, Moon Girl. Sour pipe removed as he held his shield of hand beside his lips that cooed a moonlight night call, clear from a near a fall from a call, replying. Down the edge of his free man baton ranged Bloom's other eye, scanning for where did I see that? Callan, Coleman, Dingham, Patrick. Hey ho, Fawcett. Aha! Just I was looking. Hope he's not looking. Cute as a rat. He held, unfurled his freeman. Can't see now. Remember right Greek S. Bloom dipped blue myrrh. Dear sir. Dear Henry wrote. Dear Maddie. Got your light and flow. How did I put? Some pocker off. It is utter impos. Underline impos. To write today. Bore this. Board Bloom tambourines gently with I am just reflecting fingers on flat pad pat bra. On. Know what I mean? No, change that E, except my poor little present clothes. Ask her no ounce. Hold on, 5 dig. 2 about here. Penny the Bulls. Elijah is calm. 7 Davy Burns. Is 8 about? Say half a crown. My poor little press. P.O. 2 and 6. Write me along. Do you despise? Jingle have you the so excited. Why do you call me not, you naughty boy? 2. Oh, Mary lost the pin of her. Bye for today. Yes, we'll tell you. 1, 2. To keep it up. Call me that other. Otherworld, she wrote. My patients are exhaust. To keep it up. You must believe. Believe. The tank. It is. True. Folly am I writing? Husbands don't. That's marriage does, their wives. Because I'm away from, suppose. But how? She must keep young. If you found out. Card in my high grade ha. No, not tell all. Useless pain. They don't see, woman. Sauce for the gander. A hackney car. Number 324. Driver Barton James of number 1 Harmony Avenue. Donnybrook, on which sat a fair young gentleman stylishly dressed in an indigo blue serge suit made by George Robert Mazias, tailor and a cutter of number 5 Eden Quay, and wearing a straw hat very dressy, bought of John Plaistow number 1 Great Brunswick Street hatter, eh? This is the jingle that joggled and jingled. By Drew Paz's pork shop, bright tubes of Agendath trotted a gallant buttocked mare. Answering an ad, keen Richie's eyes asked Bloom. Yes, Mr. Bloom said. Town traveler. Nothing doing, I expect. Bloom, myrrh, best references. But Henry wrote, it will excite me. You know now, in haste. Henry, Greek E. Better add postscript. What is he playing now? Improvising intermezzo. P.S. The rum-tum-tum. How will you pun? You punish me? Crooked skirt is swinging whack by. Tell me I want to know. Oh, course, if I didn't, I wouldn't ask. La la la, ree. Trails off there sad and minor. Why minor sad? Sign H. They like sad tail at end. P.P.S. La la la, ree. I feel so sad today, la ree. So lonely. D. He blotted quick on pad of Pat Enville address, just copy out of paper, murmured Messrs. Callan, Colin, and Cole, Limited, Henry Road, Miss Martha Clifford, C.O.P.O., Dolphin's Barn Lane, Dublin. Blot over the other so he can't read. Right, idea prize tidbit, something detective read off blotting pad, payment at the rate of guinea per coal. Matcham often thinks the laughing witch. Poor Mrs. Purefoy. U.P. up. Too poetical, that about the sad. Music did that. Music hath charm, Shakespeare said. Quotations every day in the year. To be or not to be. Wisdom while you wait. In Gerard's Rosary of Fetter Lane he walks, Great Auburn. One life is all, one body do, but do. Done anyhow. Postal order stamp, post office lower down, walk now enough. Barney Kiermans. I promised to meet them. Dislike that job. House of mourning. Walk. Pat. Doesn't hear. Deaf beetle he is. Car near there now. Talk. Pat. Doesn't. Settling those napkins. Lot of ground he must cover in the day. Paint face behind on him, then he'd be too. Wish they'd sing more. Keep my mind off. Bald Pat, who was bothered, metered the napkins. Pat is a waiter hard of his hearing. Pat is a waiter who waits while you wait. He. He waits while you wait. He. A waiter is he. He. He waits while you wait. While you wait, if you wait, he will wait while you wait. He. Ho. Wait while you wait. Deuce now, Deuce Lydia, Bronze and Rose. She had a gorgeous, simply gorgeous time, and look at the lovely shell she bought. To the end of the bar to him she bore lightly the spiked and winding sea horn that she, George Lidwell solicitor, might bear. Listen, she bade him. Under Tom Kernan's skin-hot words, the accompanist wove music slow, authentic fast. How Walter Batty lost his voice. Well, sir, the husband took him by the throat, scoundrel, said he. You'll sing no more love songs. He did, Sir Tom, Bob Cowley wove. Tenors get worn. Cowley lay back. Ah, now he heard, she holding it to his ear. Here, he heard. Wonderful. She held it to her own, and through the sifted light pale golden contrast glided to hear. Tap. Bloom through the bar door saw a shell held at their ears. He heard more faintly that they heard, each for herself alone, then each for other, hearing the plash of waves, loudly a silent roar, bronzed by a weary gold, and near afar they listened. Her ear is to a shell, the peeping lobe there. Been to the seaside, lovely seaside girls, skin tanned raw. Should have put on cold cream first, make it brown. Buttered toast, oh, and that lotion mustn't forget. Fever near her mouth, your head it simply, hair braided over, shell with seaweed. Where do they hide their ears with seaweed hair? And Turks their mouth, why? Her ears over the sheet, the yashmak, find the way in, a cave, no admittance except on business. The sea they think they hear, singing, a roar, the blood is it, Seuss in their ears sometimes, well, it's a sea, Corpsco Islands. Wonderful, really, so distinct. Again, George Lidwell held its murmur, hearing, then laid it by gently. What are wild waves saying, he asked her, smiled. Charming sea smiling and unanswering, Lydia and Lidwell smiled. Tap. By Lario, Rourke's by Larry, bold Lario. Boylan swayed and Boylan turned. From the forsaken shell, Miss Mina glided to her tankard waiting. No, she was not so lonely. Archly Miss Douce's head let Mr. Lidwell know. Walks in the moonlight by the sea, no, not alone. With whom? She nobly answered, with a gentleman friend. Bob Cowley's twinkling fingers in the treble played again. The landlord has the prior. A little time. Long John, Big Ben, lightly he played a light, bright tinkling measure for tripping ladies, arch and smiling for their gallant gentlemen friends. 1 1 1 1 2 1 3 4. Sea wind leaves thunder, water cows loving in the cattle market, cocks hens don't crow, snakes hiss. There's music everywhere. Rutledge's door, creaking. No, that's noise. Minuet of Don Giovanni's he's playing now. Court dresses of all descriptions in castle chambers dancing. Misery peasants outside. Green starving faces eating dock leaves. Nice that is. Look, 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 look. You look at us. That's joyful I can feel. Never have written it. Why? My joy's other joy. But both are joys. Yes, joy it must be. Mere fact of music shows you are. Often thought she was in the dumps till she began to lilt. Then no. McCoy Vallis. My wife and your wife. Squealing eat. Like tearing silk. When she talks like the clapper of a bellows. They can't quite manage men's intervals. Clap in their voices too. Fill me. I'm warm, dark, open. Molly inqui et homo. Mercandante. My ear against the wall to hear. Want a woman who can deliver the goods. Jog, jig, jog stopped. Dandy tan shoe of dandy boy, land socks, sky blue clocks came to light to earth. Oh, look, we are so. Chamber music. Could make a kind of pun on that. It is a kind of music I often thought, when acoustics that is, tinkling. Empty vessels make the most noise, because the acoustics. The resonance changes according as the weight of the water is equal to the law of falling water, like those rhapsodies of Liszt, Hungarian, gypsy-eyed. Pearls, drops, rain, diddle, iddle, addle, addle, oodle, oodle, hiss. Now maybe, now before. One rapped on a door, one tapped with a knock. Did he knock Paul de Kock? With a loud prod knocker? With a cock, cara, 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 cock, cock, cock. Tap. Quis dengo, Ben, said Father Cowley. No, Ben, Tom Kernan interfered. The croppy boy, our native Doric. I do, Ben, Mr. Daly said. Good men and true. Do, they begged and won. I'll go. Here, Pat, return. Come, he came. He did not stay. To me, how much? What key? 6 sharps? F sharp minor, Ben Dollard said. Bob Crowley's outstretched talons gripped the black, deep-sounding chords. Must go, Prince Bloom told Richie Prince. No, Richie said. Yes, must got money somewhere. He's on for a razzle backache spree. Much he see here's lip speech, 1 and 9. Penny for yourself. Here, give him 2 pence tip. Deaf bothered, but perhaps he has a wife and family waiting, Patty come home. He. Deaf wait while they wait. But here, chords dark, lugubrious, low, in a cave of dark middle earth, embedded ore, lump music. The voice of dark age, of unlove, earth's fatigue made grave approach, and painful, come from afar, from hoary mountains, called on good men and true. The priest he sought with him, he would speak a word, tap. Ben Dollard's voice, barrel tone, doing his level best to say it, croak of vast manless, moonless, womanless marsh. Other come down, big ship's chandler's business he did once. Remember, Rosany wrote ship's lanterns, failed to the tune of 10,000 pounds. Now in the ivied home, cubicle number so-and-so, number 1 base did that for him. The priest at home, a false priest servant bade him welcome. Step in, the Holy Father, curly cues of chords. Ruin them, wreck their lives, then build them cubicles to end their days in. Hushabye, lullaby, die dog, little dog, die. The voice of warming, solemn warning told them the youth had entered a lonely hall, told them how solemn fell his footstep there, told them the gloomy chamber, the vested priest sitting to shrive. Decent soul, bit addled now, thinks he'll win and answers poet's picture puzzle. We hand you crisp 5-pound note. Bird sitting hatching in a nest, lay of the last minstrel he thought it was. C-T, what domestic animal? T-R, most courageous mariner. Good voice he has still, no eunuch yet with all his belongings. Listen, Bloom listened, Richie Golding listened, and by the door, deaf Pat, bald Pat, tip Pat listened. The chords harped slower. The voice of grief and penance came slow, embellished, tremulous. Ben's contrite beard confessed, in nomine Domini, God's name. He knelt. He beat his hand upon his breast, confessing mea culpa, Latin again, that holds them like bird-lime. Priest with the communion corpus for those women, chap in the mortuary, coffin or coffiny, corpus nomine. Wonder where the rat is by now. Scrape, tap. They listen. Tankards and Miss Kennedy. George Lidwell, eyelid well expressive. Full-busted satin Kernan C. The sighing voice of sorrow sang his sins since Easter he had cursed 3 times, you bitches bast, and once at mass time he had gone to play, once by the churchyard he had passed, and for his mother's rest he had not prayed, a boy, a croppy boy. Bronze listening by the beer pool, gazed far away soulfully, doesn't half know I'm Molly great dab at seeing anyone looking. Bronze gazed far sideways, mirror there. Is that best sight of her face? They always know. Knock at the door, last tip to titillate. Titivate. Cock-cara-cara. What do they think when they hear music? Way to catch rattlesnakes. Night Michael Gunn gave us the box. Tuning up, Shaw of Persia liked that best. Reminded him of Home Sweet Home. Wiped his nose and curtain too. Custom his country, perhaps. That's music too. Not as bad as it sounds, tootling. Brasses braying asses through up-trunks, double basses, helpless gashes in their sides. Woodwinds mooing cows, semi-grand open crocodile music hath jaws. Woodwind like Goodwin's name. She looked fine. Her crocus dress she wore, low-cut, belongings on show. Clove, her breath was always in theater when she bent to ask a question. Told her what Spinoza says in that book of poor papas. Hypnotized, listening, eyes like that, she bent, chap in dress circle, staring down into her with his opera glass for all he was worth. Beauty of music you must hear twice. Nature, woman, half a look. God made the countryman the tune. Met him pike horses. Philosophy, oh rocks, all gone, all fallen. At the siege of Ross his father, at Gorey all his brothers fell. To Wexford we are the boys of Wexford he would. Last of his name and race. I too, last of my race. Millie young student, well, my fault perhaps. No son, Rudy. Too late now, or if not, if still. He bore no hate. Hate, love, those are names. Rudy. Soon I am old. Big Ben, his voice unfolded. Great voice, Richie Golding said, a flesh struggling in his pale. To bloom, soon old, but when he was young. Ireland comes now, my country above the king. She listens. Who fears to speak of 1904? Time to be shoving. Looked enough. Bless me, father. Dollard the croppy cried. Bless me and let me go. Tap. Bloom looked, I'm blessed to go. Got up to kill on 18 bob a week. Fellows shell out the dibs. Want to keep the weather eye open. Those girls, those lovely. By the sad sea waves. Chorus girls romance. Letters read out for breach of promise. For Chickabiddy's own mumpy spum. Laughter in court. Henry, I never signed it. The lovely name you. Low sank the music, airing words. Then hastened the false priest wrestling soldier from his cassock. A yeoman captain. They know it all by heart. The thrill they itch for. Yeoman cap. Tap tap. Thrilled she listened, bending in sympathy to hear. Blank-faced virgin should say, or fingered only, write something on it, page. If not, what becomes of them? Decline, despair, keeps them young, even admire themselves. See? Play on her. Lip blow, body of a white woman, a flute alive, blow gentle, loud, 3 holes all women. Goddess I didn't see, they want it. Not too much polite, that's why it gets them. Gold in your pocket, brass in your face. With look-to-look song without words. Molly that hurdy-gurdy boy. She knew he meant that monkey was sick, or because he so likes the Spanish. Understand animals too that way, Solomon did, gift of nature. Ventriloquize, my lips closed. Think in my storm. What? Will? You? I want you, too. With hoarse rude fury the yeoman cursed, swelling an apoplectic bitch's bastard. A good thought, boy, come. 1 hour's your time to live, your last. Tap, tap, throw now. Pity they feel to wipe away a tear for martyrs. For all things dying, want to, dying to, die. For that all things born. Poor Mrs. Purefoy. Hope she's over, because they're wombs. A liquid of woman eyeball gazed under offensive lashes, calmly hearing. See real beauty of the eye when she not speaks. On yonder river, at each slow satiny heaving bosoms wave, her heaving embon. Red rose rose slowly, sank red rose. Heart beats her breath, breath that is life. And all the tiny fern foils trembled of maiden hair. But look, the bright stars fade. Oh, Rose, Castile the morn. Ha, Lidwell, for him then not for. Infatuated. I like that? See her from here, though. Popped cork splashes of beer froth, stacks of empties. On the smooth jutting beer pool laid Lydia hand lightly, plumply, leave it to my hands, all lost in pity for Croppy. Fro, to, fro, over the polished knob, she knows his eyes, my eyes, her eyes. Her thumb and finger passed in pity, passed, repassed, and gently touching, then slid so smoothly, slowly down, a cool, firm, white enamel baton protruding through their sliding ring. With a cock, with a cara, tap, tap, tap. I hold this house, amen. He gnashed in fury, traitors swing. The chords consented, very sad thing, but had to be. Get out before the end, thanks, that was heavenly. Where's my hat? Passed by her, can leave that Freeman. Letter I have, suppose she were the... No, walk, 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 like Cashel Boylo, Conero, Coilo, Tisdall Maurice, Tinsdall Farrow, walk. Well, I must be. Are you off? Stop. Bloom stood up. Ow, soap. Feeling rather sticky behind. Must have sweat. Music, that lotion remembers. So, high grade. Card inside, yes. My deaf band in the doorway, straining air boom past. At Geneva barrack, that young man died. At passage was his body laid. Dolor, oh, ye Dolores. The voice of Winford chattered, called to the Lord's Prayer. By rose, by sandy bosom, by fondling hand, by slops, by empties, by popped corks, greeting and going, past eyes and maiden hair, bronze and faint golden, deep sea shadow, went bloom, soft bloom, I feel so low in the gloom. Tap, 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 pray for him, prayed the base of Dollard. You who hear in peace, breathe a prayer, drop a tear, good men, good people, he was the Croppy boy. Scarring eavesdropping boots, Croppy boots, boy bloom, in the Ormond hallway heard growls and roars of bravo, fat back slapping, their boots all treading, boots not the boots, the boy. General chorus off for a swill to wash it down, glad I avoided. Come on, Ben, Simon Daedalus said. By God, you're as good as ever you were. Better, said Tom Jin Kernan. A most trenchant rendition of that ballad, upon my soul and honor it is. La blash, said Father Cowley. Ben Dollard bulkily chod toward the bar, mightily praise-fed and all big rosette. On heavy-footed feet, his gouty fingers knackering castanets in the air. Big Benedent Dollard, big Ben, big Ben. And deep moved all, Simon trumping compassion from foghorn nose, all laughing. They brought him forth, Ben Dollard, in right good cheer. You're looking rubicund, George Lidwell said, as Deuce composed her rose to wait. Ben Machi, said Mr. Daedalus, clapping Ben's fat back shoulder blade. Fit as a fiddle, only he has a lot of adipose tissue concealed about his person. Fat of death, Simon, Ben Dollard growled. Richie riffed in the lute alone sat, golding collis ward. Uncertainty, he waited. Unpaid pat, too. Tap, 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 tap. Miss Mina Kennedy brought near her lips an ear of tankardun. Mr. Dollard, they murmured low. Dollard, murmured Tankard. Tank one believed. Miss Ken was she. That doll he was, she doll, the tank. He murmured that he knew the name. The name was familiar to him, that is to say. That was to say he had heard the name of Dollard, was it? Dollard, yes. Yes, her lips said more loudly. Mr. Dollard, he sang that song lovely, murmured Mina. And the last rose of summer was a lovely song. Mina loved that song. Tankard loved that song, that Mina. 'Tis the last rose of summer, Dollard left bloom, felt wind wound round inside. Ghastly thing, that cider. Binding, too. Wait, post office near Reuben J's 1 and 8 piece, too. Get shut of it. Dodge round by Greek Street. Wish I hadn't promised to meet. Freer in air. Music gets on your nerves. Beer pull. Her hand that rocks the cradle rules the Ben Houth that rules the world. Far, 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 far. Tap, 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 tap. Up the quay went Leopold. Naughty Henry with letter for Matey. With sweets of sin, with frills for Raoul. With met him pike hoses when pulled on. Tap blind walk tapping by the tap, the curbstone tapping tap by tap. Cowley he stunts himself with it, a kind of drunkenness. Better give way only halfway the way of a man with a maid. Instant enthusiast, all years, not lose a demi-semi-quaver. Eyes shut, head nodding in time, yada you daren't bulge. Thinking strictly prohibited, always talking shop, fiddle-faddle about notes. All a kind of attempt to talk. Unpleasant when it stops, because you never know exact. Organ in Gardiner Street. Organ 50 quid a year. Queer up there in the cockloft alone with stops and locks and keys. Seated all day at the organ, maunder on for hours talking to himself or the other fellow blowing the bellows, growl angry, then shriek cursing, want to have wadding or something in his no, don't she cried. Then all of a sudden, wee little pipey wind. Whee, a wee little wind piped ee, in Bloom's little wee. Where's wee? Mr. Daedalus said, returning with fetched pipe. I was with him this morning at poor little Paddy Dingham's. Aye, the Lord have mercy on him. By the by, there's a tuning fork in there on the tap, tap, tap. The wife has a fine voice, or had. What? Lidwell asked. Oh, that must be the tuner, Lydia said to Simon Lionel. First I saw, forgot it when he was here. Blind he was, she told George Lidwell. Second I saw, and played so exquisitely, treat to hear. Exquisite contrast. Bronze-lid Minigold. Shout, Ben Dollard shouted, pouring. Sing out. Ildo, cried Father Crowley. I feel I want tap, 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 tap. Very, Mr. Daedalus said, staring hard at the headless sardine. Under the sandwich bell lay on a bier of bread one lonely, last sardine of summer. Bloom alone. Barry he stared, the lower register for choice. Tap, 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 tap. Bloom went by Barry's, wish I could. Wait, that wonder worker if I had. 24 solicitors in that one house. Litigation, love one another. Piles of parchment. Messrs. Pick and Pocket have power of attorney. Golding Cullis Ward. For example, the chap that wobbles the big drum. His vocation, Mickey Rooney's band. Wonder how it first struck him. Sitting at home after a pig's cheek and cabbage, nursing it in the armchair, rehearsing his band part. Pom, pombity. Jolly for the wife, asses skins. Both them through life, then wallop after death. Pom, wallop. Seems to be what you call yashmak, or kismet, fate. Tap tap, a stripling, blind, with a tapping cane, came tap tap tapping by Dolly's window where a mermaid, hair all streaming, but he couldn't see, blue whiffs of a mermaid, blind couldn't, mermaid coolest whiff of all. Instruments, blade of grass, shell of her hands, then blow, even comb and tissue paper you can knock a tune out of. Molly in her shift in Lombard Street West, hair down. I suppose each kind of trade made its own, don't you see? Hunter with a horn, haw. Have you the cloche? Sonilla, shepherdess pipe, policeman a whistle, locks and keys, sweep. 4 o'clocks, all well. Sleep. All is lost now. Drum, pompity. Wait, I know. Town crier, bum bailiff. Long John. Waken the dead. Pom. Dingham. Poor nomdy-domdy. Pom. It is music. Of course. It's all pom, pom, pom. Very much what they call da capo. Still, you can hear. As we march along, pom. I must really. Now, if I did that at a banquet. Just a question of custom Shah Persia. Breathe a prayer, drop a tear. All the same, he must have been a bit of a natural not to see it was a yeoman cap. Muffled up. Wonder who was that chap at the grave at the Brown McKin. Oh, whore of the lane. A frosy whore with black straw sailor hat askew came glazingly in the day along the quay towards Mr. Bloom. When first he saw that form endearing, yes it is, I feel so lonely. Wet night in the lane, horn, who had the hee-haw, she-haw. Off her beat there, what is she? Hope she, psst, any chance of your wash? New Molly, had me decked, stout lady does be with you in the brown costume. Put you off your stroke, that appointment we made, knowing we'd never, well, hardly ever. Too dear near to home, sweet home. Sees me, does she? Look a fright in the day, face like dip, damn her. Oh, well, she has to live like the rest. Look in there. In Lionel Mark's antique sale shop window, haughty Henry Lionel Leopold dear Henry Flower, earnestly Mr. Leopold Bloom envisaged candlestick, melodian, oozing maggoty blow bags. Bargain, 6 bob. Might learn to play. Cheap. Let her pass. Of course, everything is dear if you don't want it. That's what good salesman is. Makes you buy what he wants to sell. Chap sold me the Swedish razor he shaved me with. Wanted to charge me for the edge he gave it. She's passing now. 6 bob. Must be the cider, perhaps the Burgund. Near bronze from a near, gold from afar, they chink their clinking glasses all, bright-eyed and gallant, before bronze Lydia's tempting last rose of summer, rose of Castile, first lid day, cur, cow, cur, doll, a fifth, Lidwell, side Daedalus, Bob Cowley, Kernan, and Big Ben Dollard. Tap, a youth entered a lonely Ormond Hall. Bloom viewed a gallant picture hero in Lionel Mark's window. Robert Emmett's last words, 7 last words, of Mayor Beer, that is. True men like you men, aye, Ben, will lift your glass with us. They lifted. Shink, shink, tip, an unseeping stripling stood in the door. He saw not bronze, he saw not gold, nor Ben, nor Bob, nor Tom, nor Cy, nor George, nor Tanks, nor Richie, nor Pat. He did not see. Sea bloom, grease bloom, viewed last words, softly, when my country takes her place among... Must be the burr... nations of the earth. No one's behind. She's past. Then, and not till then. Tram, cran, cran. Good up or coming. Cran, drilla, crang. I'm sure it's the Burgund. Yes, 1, 2, let my epitaph be. Written I have. Done. Well, I hope you have all enjoyed that song. I personally felt that I was rushing through it a little bit. As it happens, if you so happen to be inclined, I am embracing Tom Lair's release of this work into the public domain by charging 36,000 Danish kroner for it on Bandcamp. Now that you've listened to all of it, or at least skipped to the end to see if he actually sings the song, he does, by the way, you Philistine, I think it's only fair you should pay.